Reuters. U.S. First Lady Melania Trump. Statue set on fire in Slovenia. I'm not seeing exactly the scorching here. That. Forgive me if they're,
All right. Well, I never thought we'd be doing a comment read through this quickly, but I actually was planning on doing a follow-up to this video anyway, because if you were wondering why there didn't seem to be a whole lot of details given, and even the photos were vague, in that last video in that article that Reuters released about this statue burning, and you might think it's BLM. I sure as heck thought it might have been anything like Antifa, some fascists. Well, little bit juicier story than that. And, you know, it's not always just what the A and B media is telling you, right? You know, fake news. It really is, you know, fake in almost every way, except for one. That's a statue. All right, let me get into this. So, you probably wouldn't know this, whoever you are. You might know this. If you know this, I'm impressed, because they covered this up so quickly last year when the statue was unveiled. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. That's how I say unveiled. So I had to dig in. I was so happy. The first comment I get on this, of course, straight from Slovenia, right where this happened. So, good meta tagging by Mr. White. Hashtag Slovenia. So, can I get clarification? Yes, you can, because this guy is super nice. Credit to Retrospective Zoology for this information. So, basically, as I said in the last video, this was commissioned by an American artist stationed in Berlin. Okay? Now, probably going to need to do another video for this, because what had happened was, as I dug in here, man, at first I was like, hold on. That's my comment. He had another thing to say, of course, in a separate thread. No, the hater is a hater. This is a mockery of the first lady. You can read. Wait. What? So the statue itself was originally a mockery to begin with? Or are you saying the burning and removal was the burning was the mockery and the removal is the honor? It turns out the removal is the honor, because the original construction, the way that this American artist was commissioned, was not taken lightly by the local Slovenian artists or what have you, the locals that care about this anyway, whoever they may be. I'm not saying it was for sure, definitely not standing here saying it was retrospective zoology or anything like that. I don't know. All I know is he's a local and knows way better than you and I would with the fake news that we end up receiving by the time it trickles down or gets over the seas, right? Or over the airways, over the... Anyway, my netizens, you know what I'm talking about, so I don't need to inform you. I had, obviously, a lot of questions for this guy. I was super excited that he would give me some info. Peace from Michigan. And thank you again, Retrospective Zoology. So, funniest thing he said is in the other thread here. And of course, that was that... I'll just read the whole thing again. The American artist is an opportunist. He abused the Slovenian chainsaw artist who knew Melenia when they were young for his anti-Trump stunt. So let's dissect that a second. My wife is from Russia. She was smiling the whole time, and she seemed to know what he was talking about. And he said, I bet he had a crush on her. So it's especially perverse. My wife seemed to get that. I don't know. I don't have a gossip type brain, so maybe I didn't. I'm just going to let you dissect that. So yeah, basically here, it was never an honor to begin with. We have a very poorly done statue that was a mockery. Essentially, it was an American artist commissioned to do it. They did it with either a very ugly tree or just a very ugly chainsaw, and a very ugly artist did this. It should have been a local Slovenian artist for sure. In my opinion here, I'm going to go ahead and side 100% Slovenia here. And again, thank you, Retrospective Zoology, for clearing this up. My wife seemed to be on the same page. Now, all I will say here, little disclaimer, or what you might have been thinking, is that, of course, this smells a little fascist to burn something like that, but actually, I believe we're seeing the scorch marks on her leg there. It was just a little sign, and I think he's been getting the message for a long time now, and he finally took it. So he took it down, and that's the details they did not give you in the article. I mean, you can look for yourself. Not a whole lot of details. Melania Trump's an immigrant? Get out. All right. You know, so Brad Downey, the American-based artist. All right, so you can look up his name if you want more detail there, and you can look up, of course, the local artist, I believe, who commented as we were.
This is just a 1-year-old sculpture. It was put up last Independence Day. It looks like a little bit confusing here on the caption, but of course the photo, I believe, is the scorched version.
Yeah.
Which was, again.
Now have different beliefs. Look how that works. Only took me 24 hours, guys. Do some of your own research. You know, don't ever pay attention just to the mainstream media, please. Hell, don't ever just pay attention to me. But chances are I'll be, you know, making sure, at least I'll be doing my due diligence to make sure that I'm on point. And, you know, I'm not always going to be on point right away. I'm still sometimes kind of digesting things as I'm reading through them. Clearly, I'm trying to be real with these things and let you know it's not super rehearsed, what have you. But basically, you were probably wondering who this is, so I'll give him a little shout out. I hope he doesn't mind. New channel. It's actually quite interesting, and that's why I mean, it pretty much seemed like I could trust this guy based on his creds here. So, yeah, home for such artists, such as a bunch of folks that I haven't necessarily heard of, but artists, and I'm all about artists. So, I'm not going to say it, but this sounds a lot like an underground artist idea I had, UGA. And you are a surely underrated artist, and so that was going to be something I start up here. Might be another channel. So I'm pretty excited here. I got some good connections going on here and was able to connect all the way around the globe with this fine fella, whoever is behind this account. Thank you very much. Spasibo Balshoya. We're still, I was debating with my wife actually what language y'all speak locally. So if you want to, if it's just Slovenian, Google my Google Home. She said she was broken. She said I'm gonna have to. You need to check back a little bit later on that one. A little out of my field, my scape. So you're clearly above or outside of Google's who knows ideology. So they don't really study you guys that much. Heck if I know. I don't know why they don't know about Slovenia on Google. Of course, this was just my Google Home, my robot. I didn't have a lot of time to be researching how to properly say something in Slovenian or whatever, when he could probably understand my English, although his English wasn't perfect. He was very clear, and again, I thank him for that. Awesome to have basically some information here that Reuters didn't have, and I don't believe any of the other sources had. Obviously, a comment from my page posting retroactively somehow or anything like that. This is just a unique comment you can only get when you actually try to talk to people. And he heard that I maybe speak a little Russian on the video, whatever. We have something in common, you can relate. And look, he doesn't hate me because I'm an American. He didn't hate that artist because he was an American. The artist was clearly a disrespectful prick. I don't know. Obviously had a crush on Melenia. Can you blame him? Yeah, let's just Google Melenia real quick. No, we're not going to do that. You can drool over her later and be jealous of Trump all you want and hate on him. You know, this is just what you get, you know, when you don't do right by people. It's going to come around. It took a year. This happened on July 4th. Like I said, this year they got him to take it down. They burnt it. And of course, last year, 2019, is when they first erected it. But he was not the rightful artist to be getting credit, and it was just kind of a mockery of Trump, how he went about it. And plus, I got to imagine that wasn't anyone's best work. I felt like my 8-year-old daughter could have done a better job with a chainsaw than whatever that was, okay? Linden tree, whatever tree, didn't matter. That guy was holding the wrong chainsaw and he had the wrong hands, and he's the wrong guy. He's not even Slovenian. Why the heck did they have to make it about America, America, America when we're trying to obviously be inclusive and encourage immigration of wonderful people like Melenia, which, you know, Trump happened to just figure out a better way to get her over here and get her into power. And that was, so just want to clarify, that was nothing to do with disrespect toward Melenia. Awesome. Just the original thing was, but now the honor is the trash is gone. So like and subscribe. If you don't mind, maybe hit that bell, because I don't put out videos necessarily daily, although these days I just try to stick to the juicy hot topics that I actually care about. But it seems like there's so much of that pouring out these days that my feed has just been so full of news that I just want to talk about with people who are like-minded. Cannot really always find them. I mean, I have a wife from Russia, so I inform her of how I'm formulating my decisions, that's for sure, because they didn't always let you make the best decisions over there. They didn't really give you the tools to make your own decisions over there for the longest time. That's not, she didn't grow up in communism, socialism, 80s, 90s, and on. But it was definitely still socialism for a while there. And when I went over there, when I went to Moscow myself, and we currently have a guy not far from us who's locked up there who was a former Marine. Can't think of his name right now, and frankly don't want to sound like I'm connected, but yeah, I was over there, and it just it reeked of communism. You can still smell it. And think about it, guys. Russia is 2,000 plus years old. The Art of War, Chinese war, basically explaining how the world worked, right, was written 2,225 years ago. And now, where was I going with that? Yeah, essentially, I don't know, but you should follow me to find out. But yeah, just everything keeps pouring out, and can't help but speak up sometimes when things really bother me. But again, got some ties to Slovenia and all that, and not saying all Russian, that's for sure. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty sick with what they're trying to do over there with the Constitution, Putin. But keeping him in power for another 20 years, good God, that would be terrible. Probably gonna happen too. They're already saying it's looking that way. But I'm up to 86 views now. Wowee. Yeah, sometimes I just don't know what to say about stuff, and you can't take what you find on the surface. You gotta dig in, and sometimes it's difficult. But sometimes, hey, ring-a-ding-ding, it only takes 24 hours, and I didn't even have to read in Slavic. Use perfect English. Thank you, man. Again, over and out, Mr. White, out, working on the outro, working on the intros. Gonna cut this up and get back with you. Meanwhile, do your own DD. Love you.
Rischiate di passare la tela. Vai laptop, vai laptop. Pásame un mando. Pásame los mandos a bajar la tela. Ore, toca las palmas, vaya. Venga, aprieta un poco. Ole ahí, ole, mi niña, ole.
Купив чувак собі нову Мазду. Поработает. Молодец. Крыша хорошо. Ой, молодец. Ой, молодец. Хорошая была Мазда.
Алло! А, сюда смотрите, пожалуйста! Эй, Слушат! Улыбочку! Слушат! Сюда смотрите, пожалуйста!
Готов!
Давай, Али Баба! Давай! А, верблюд алкаш! Алкоголик!
Пьет как верблюд.
Это не мусульман. Ай!
Русские научили, да?
Ай!
Надо знать, как это, примостить ее.
Водка есть?
Водку выпили.
Русский Russian водка.
Он спину набирает, готовься.
877 Call me right now. 877-82. Take these calls next.
Hello, I want to sing in church right now.
Now joining me live on the line is Scott Goodwin from Goodwin and Cheska. Scott, how are you today, sir?
Liar.
Ready for tomorrow's